Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the floor of the Superdome. Tim Van Vooren with you on Fox 6. The Packers are champions of the football world, knocking off the New England Patriots 35-21. Stay with us. All kinds of press conference comments for you, live interviews, and a special guest right off the bat, a man who's been through some of the lean times and can now enjoy the absolute summit in football. Place kicker Chris Jackie. Packer Hall of Famer John Anderson is with me as well.
First of all, congratulations. You've got the most tenure of any current Packer. Simply just how does this feel to be on top of the football world?
It feels great. First year we were 10-6. In the following couple years we're 4-12. It's just a complete turnaround, and it's just great to bring that trophy back down to Wisconsin.
How was this last 2 weeks for you guys preparing with all the media hype, with all the attention, and really with this event the way it unfolded today?
It's been a long 2 weeks. Being down here, it even got longer. It seems like it took a month to get to this game, but we played solid in all three phases of the game. Desmond sparked us, I think, and really salted the game away with his big return, and Brett had another solid game, and old Reggie White seems to come up with those big sacks when we need him. So we played a real good game today.
Well, you hit two field goals. That's got to make you feel good. I know there's a lot of pressure on everyone, but especially kickers, because you could be called on to come out and do your magic at any point.
Right. I'm a little upset. I didn't hit the ball very well in the last one, but I'm just glad to get out there and to contribute like we did, and it just feels real good right now.
Special teams with a big factor. Desmond Howard, what more can you say about this guy? He's done it all year long. We were wondering if he had any more in himself, but he certainly proved that he did.
Right. I don't think there's any more adjectives to describe Desmond Howard. He's done it all season. He sparked us in a lot of games this year, and special teams is contributed to this win, and it just feels really good right now. We're real happy right now.
Chris, Mike Holmgren seemed to be in control of this team from the start of training camp. How is he this week? In some of his press conferences, he seemed a little more nervous than I've seen him before.
Nah, not Mike, really. Mike's an excellent coach. He brought that West Coast offense with him, and we brought in the talent to use that system, and we just played really well. Fritz has done an outstanding job with the defense, and Nolan Cromwell, he deserves a pound on the back of what he's done. Desmond's not out there by himself. He has 10 other guys helping him out, and we were just really strong in all three phases of the game throughout the season.
And what was said in the locker room after this win?
The trophy's coming home.
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
Well, you got one more celebration in you tomorrow. I know the folks up in Green Bay are looking forward to welcoming you back in style up in Lambeau Field.
I hope it's warm back there, because all we got left is shorts down here. No, we're looking forward to get back home and share this with the fans that really deserve it.
Thanks. Chris Jackie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming out. Fans have enjoyed watching you in Green Bay for some time, and hope everything works out down the road for you.
I hope so. I want to be back. I want to try and do this all again next year.
Okay, Chris Jackie, one of the real esteemed members of the Green Bay Packers. Speaking live right now to the media press conference is Bill Parcells, head coach of the New England Patriots. Let's join him live.
I'm going to take just a couple of more, guys, and I'm going. Pardon me? Is the what? Well, it's frustrating in the respect that, the difficulty of getting to this point and then not taking the advantage of it. Now, I've been fortunate, in the past to do that, but I credit Mike Holmgren and their organization. They played well today, and they played better than we did, particularly in that special teams area.
What will you do to unwind, Bill? Now that this game's over, what will you do to unwind? What's next for you?
Oh, I haven't even thought about it, really. My whole time was occupied up to this point, so. Last one. Are you going back with the team tomorrow? Pardon me? Well, I have my family. I don't know whether I am or not, but I'll be back in New England by tomorrow somehow or Tuesday. I'm not sure. They asked me that before. Yeah, I think we'll do that in the near future. Okay, guys, I'm done.
Here is what's going on at the Superdome right now. A lot of live shots being done across the country. Most of the folks in the media, in the TV industry, could not wait, or had to wait at least, until the Fox postgame show cleared the air. So that's what's going on in here right now. The players are starting to come back out of the locker room, celebrating this big victory, of course, over the New England Patriots. Desmond Howard, the Super Bowl MVP. We'll hear from him in just a moment. But first, we'd like to welcome in another live guest, Earl Dotson, the tackle from Texas A&I, who had such a big role in getting this running game going over the last couple of weeks. Earl, thanks very much for coming back out to join us. I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't say congratulations first off. How does it feel to be Super Bowl champs?
It was great, man. I never had a feeling like this. I'm just thankful to be here, and we won it. It's time to celebrate now.
You are a guy who's gone through some tough times personally on this team, looking for your spot, trying to develop, trying to come along on the line. Tom Lovato, the offensive line coach, has shown a lot of faith in you. Did you and this offensive line reward that faith this year and today?
I think so. You know, we came into the season, nobody really gave us a chance. You know, you read the articles, the line be the reason why the Green Bay wouldn't make it this far. You know, we stepped up. You know, we took the challenge head on. You know, now we're the Super Bowl champions.
It seemed like that running game really kicked in probably 4 or 5 weeks ago. Was there anything different that you guys were doing, or did it just all start to mesh at that point?
I think the coaches took more faith in us. You know, instead of 3-4 runs, then give up on it, he stuck with it, and you know, we just started getting the chunks. And you know, I owe everything to Coach Tom Lovat. He stood by everybody on this line, and you know, it paid off.
Can you describe the emotion that you felt after this game when you knew you were the best in the business?
I tell you the truth, right now, it ain't really sunk in. You know, probably when I sit back at home and relax for a little while and realize that, you know, we did it, you know, I probably bust out crying. But right now, I'm just happy to win it, you know.
Have you had a better football experience? The families were down this week. There are a lot of distractions, but you guys as a team seem pretty loose. You're able to come out, take control of this game, and beat the AFC.
Yeah, we play better when we lose. You know, when we get all tight, that's when we have our bad games. And Coach Holmgren know that. So, you know, he took advantage of it, let us have our free time, be with our families, you know, see a little bit of New Orleans, and it paid off, you know. It's a great feeling, and I thank God for everything that happened.
What about going back to Green Bay tomorrow? Those fans have meant so much to this team.
They did. You know, the fans deserve it. You look at the crowd today, because most of the Green Bay fan, and they support been this way all year. You know, one of the biggest reasons that we played as well as we did.
Well, Earl, thank you very much. We'll let you go. I know you got family and folks you want to say hello to after this big win, and pretty soon I guess you just get fitted for that Super Bowl ring.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Thank you much.
Earl Dotson coming back out. As I mentioned just before we had the live interview with Earl, the players are starting to come back out, so we're going to try to pick off a few of them for you as we continue here. We have a special show for you. This is the best place to be for all of your post-game Super Bowl coverage. And he didn't win the MVP, but this guy had another fine game today. Brett Favre, the Packers quarterback.
The first touchdown? Oh, yeah, man, I get so excited. You know, I've never been much of a follow-through passer. But I was just so excited that it turned out exactly the way we had practiced. So, you know, just the way it goes. What's that? I mean, it would be great anywhere, but it, you know, adds a little bit to it. Doing it here, it's so close to home, and having so many people able to watch me play. Is that a record? Yeah. Oh, I mean, well, it's great that we got a touchdown. I guess the record is good too, and that we won the ball game. I'm excited for Antonio. He's had a great year. He's pulled us through. And that particular play, he just beat the strong safety, which was kind of odd that they would put him on free, and he just beat his guy.
What was that play, do you remember?
It was just all go. You know, we sent 4 guys up the middle of the field, and, you know, you just pick whoever, and I took the mismatch.
50 miles from home, right? Did it happen?
I don't believe, no, you know, unless we played at my hometown. I'm just excited about it. It's a great victory for us. It's great for the state of Wisconsin. You know. Yeah, I did. You know, I've been thinking of him all year. This is great for myself, for our team, for his family, and for him. It's been a great year.
Is there a better way to say it? It has been a great year, and it is capped with a great win for the Green Bay Packers today. Again, your final score 35-21. We appreciate the fact that you stayed with us, and you're going to want to stay right here because more coverage continues in just a moment as we go to break. In this special post-game Super Bowl show, you'll take a look at the way the Packers got the offense going. Andre Rison, touchdown. We'll be right back.
Andre Rison does the dance in, and Favre got settled down in a hurry. That is the way to settle down Rison. He's in the slot. He's going to come up against Otis Smith, and he just makes it.
I'm just calling you from the locker room with about 100 mics in my face, so I had to call you, Mom, because it's I'm really happy for you guys too. Yeah, it is. They actually think I'm talking to the president, but you're much better than the president, Mom. Hey, tell Dad that I'm really happy for him too. It's been a long time waiting for us, and yeah, I'm just really happy. I know. Well, I love you, and I got to get back to these guys. Thanks, Mom. I love you, and I'll call you later tonight. Hey, I'll see you in a couple days. Love you. Bye.
What's your mom?
You can't help but say likable when you think of Don Beebe, and for the first time after 4 tries as a player and 5 times overall, you can now say Super Bowl champion when you talk about Don Beebe as well. Again, John Anderson rejoins me on the floor of the Superdome, and we have another special guest for you, the president of the Green Bay Packers, Bob Harlan. Congratulations, Bob.
Tim, thank you very much. We're totally delighted, as you can well imagine. First thing I'd like to do is say thank you to the people back home, because there's no one who deserves this trophy more than our fans. They stuck by us and waited, and they were always there. And I hope they realize that this is for them as much as it's for us.
And this interview, of course, is going back to Milwaukee, and you stood by those folks being able to make sure that they were part of the season ticket plan as well. Those fans seem to be at least as important to you as the folks in Green Bay.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it. And I don't like to get into a situation where we talk about the Green Bay fans and the Milwaukee fans. They're all Packer fans. They deserve to be treated well, and I hope we have been. We've tried to be fair in all of our dealings with them, and they've responded extremely well, and we're going to continue to work on their program to make it as strong as we can so that they keep coming to Lambeau Field.
You've always given the credit to Ron and to Mike, but tell us what this means to you personally, Bob, after working in this organization for over 20 years and as a president for the last, well, since 1989, I believe.
Well, John, it's the best moment I've had. It's, and I guess because, you know, I was fortunate enough to be with the St. Louis Cardinals when they won a World Series back in the 60s, but I've been here 26 years, and there's been a lot of lean years, as you well know, and to see when Ron Wolf and Mike Holmgren came here, how they built this franchise, and every year they've gotten a little bit better and a little bit better, and they set out to win the Super Bowl. This year they have to do it against the toughest schedule in the National Football League, and they're on the covers of all the magazines in July saying, this is the team to shoot at because it's the team that's going to be there. And Mike Holmgren kept them focused all the time, and Ron Wolf continually shows his ability to go out whenever there's a hole to be filled. He fills it. I mean, a Desmond Howard and Andre Rison, he continually brings in people who fill needs for us.
He certainly did that as well, as you mentioned with Desmond Howard. What a sensational day. I'm wondering which finger you're gonna wear that Super Bowl ring on now. You've got a very nice one here with some historical relevance, but where's it gonna go?
Well, I do, and I've got a World Series ring at home, but the Super Bowl ring will replace everything. And you know, John, the interesting thing, and you will appreciate this having been a player, but you know, when you're this close and the year has been good and everything, and you know, you feel that if you don't win it now, you know, is the season a disappointment? I think it takes a little bit away from it. And then you wonder, too, you know, how long will it be before you get back here? I mean, injuries can change a season. Free agency can change a team so quickly. So once you get here, you feel, you know, we better win it, because you think you're going to be here year after year, and it just doesn't happen.
Well, you've also got one more day of celebration, at least one more day of celebration. I know the folks back in Green Bay are getting excited about tomorrow's event.
Well, I tell you what, they would respond tremendously no matter what happened here today. But the fact that we've won it and had this kind of a season and brought this trophy back to Lambeau Field, I mean, we're going to fly right over the stadium, and I think it's going to be a great day in Green Bay.
Well, congratulations. You are the engineer, the architect, the overseer, if you will, and much credit goes to Bob Harlan.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed being with you both.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks, Thank you very much. Enjoy the trip home. I'm sure that the guys on the plane certainly will. Antonio Freeman, how about this guy? A year ago, kind of a middle-round draft choice sleeper, finding his way on special teams. This year, he's doing frozen pizza commercials in the preseason. Then he breaks his arm. He comes back. He's a major contributor. He's awfully excited about being Super Bowl champ.
You know, they said they were going to come up and bump us and play aggressive. We gashed them deep, and it gave us a little cushion, and our defense started to get a little momentum from the success that the offense was having, and we're world champions. Yeah, I was the first read, and I was licking my chops when I saw that safety walk up. And 81 yards later, we're in the record books. I can't control what the other defense does. All I can control is what Antonio Freeman does, and I saw a mismatch, and I took advantage of it. I really didn't sleep well last night. This is one of the first nights that I really didn't sleep well, and toss and turn, but I got a little rest during the day. I made up for it a little, and I came in here excited, refreshed. I mean, this feeling is just great.
I'd like to have had that one. That would have been nice.
Well, Antonio Freeman says he didn't sleep very well last night. Let's ask one of the big guys who does it down in the trenches, Aaron Taylor. How did you feel last night on the eve of this big game?
I felt pretty good. It was a long week for me personally, and I took a little sleeping pill last night, and that helped me get to sleep. And apparently from my roommate, from the way he said I was snoring, I did get some good sleep.
I wonder if he got any. Who'd you have this week?
Bruce Wilkerson was my roommate.
And you were protecting him a little bit today during the game, too.
Yeah, I saw a guy, one of their players, Willie McGinnis, who's a guy I played against in college and know pretty well. And he was on top of Bruce after a play, and he's trying to give him the business underneath the pile. And I just tried to show him my own little sweet way that I really didn't approve of him messing with my tackle.
Let's talk a little bit about the running game today. Got a little bit of a slow start, but as the game went along, as it has many times this season, it seemed like the ground, you were gaining much more ground, and it just seemed like you were clicking as the game went along.
Classic Packer football today. Kind of start out a little bit slow. We did get a couple of cheap scores, quick scores on them. That helped out. But there was pretty much a lull in the latter part of the first quarter and the second quarter. But when we had to get it done, we got it done. We just need a little time to get warmed up.
How was this environment? Was it similar to a regular game, or what was it like to be introduced to this extravagant opening and sitting in a halftime for 20-some minutes? Was it the same feel of a football game, Aaron?
Yeah, it was the same feel of football. I mean, it's 100 yards long, 53 1/3 yards wide, or whatever it is. But the atmosphere was a little bit different. It definitely wasn't Lambeau. But I tell you what, the fan support we had down here was phenomenal. They cheered the whole game. They really, really rooted us on. And there's a lot more cheesehead in the stands than those stupid Patriots hats.
When did you realize that this was a championship game? When did you start to relax today during the game?
When it was over. The Patriots were playing well at times. They were putting some points on the board. Thank God for our defense. Thank God for Desmond Howard. But we knew that they were the best team in the AFC and the second best team in football.
Well, congratulations. A tremendous game and a tremendous season for you and the rest of your team.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
I know you're a guy who always likes to look good. That hat looks pretty good on you. Can you deal with the black and the purple there?
I think I can deal with the black and purple. And there's a couple words up there, world champions, that there's not too many other people that can wear in this country. And it feels good to be a part of something special.
Is this the highest moment of your football career?
I would have to say so, yeah. But we won a couple big games and Pop Warner and things like that. So, you know, this kind of measures up to those, though.
There's always perspective. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Enjoy the trip home to Green Bay and Wisconsin and the offseason. Those guys have earned their offseason, John, with training camp starting way back in July.
Yeah, and this will be a short offseason this year. You know, usually you're thinking about getting a month of January to kind of heal up. They don't have that luxury. A couple of these guys, in fact, will be going on to Hawaii, so their season will continue for one more week.
And the folks in the front office will be working very quickly as well, because this is the business of football. They have to start thinking about who they'll sign to bring back next year, and there are some very valuable players who have seen their contracts expire in Green Bay. One of those guys, Desmond Howard, the most valuable player of the Super Bowl. He jumpstarts the Packers again with the return game. Where will he be returning punts next season? We'll talk about more in a minute on this Super Bowl post-game special. Stay with us, everybody.
Can you express your personal feelings, Coach?
It's hard to express right now. I look at the faces of my players and my coaches and the ownership in the locker room, and I'm humbled by that. I'm overwhelmed by it. I'm sure it'll set in sometime tomorrow. It's just a great, great sense of accomplishment for the football team. I'm so happy for those guys. They work very, very hard for this.
Go ahead, Coach. I didn't hear.
The question was, how we're going to, with all those guys in the tight ends? Well, yeah, I know. And hopefully in free agency, you know, the challenge for us now is trying to keep together as many of those guys as possible. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks.
Do you feel special teams would be a factor in the victory?
Well, I said that all along, and they've played such an important role down the stretch for us. Desmond Howard has been a very special player for us all year, giving us field position, and today was exactly the same thing. I mean, special teams is 1/3 of what we do all the time.
And the coach, Mike Holmgren, speaking of special teams, we're going to talk to a guy who has contributed on special teams all season long and on defense, particularly late in the year, and that is Tyrone Williams, rookie corner out of Nebraska, a guy who's used to big games from his collegiate career. Let me ask you first about Desmond Howard, because I know you're a contributor both ways on the special teams. Did you expect to be able to get something going with him and dictate the way this game would be played?
That's what we wanted to do. We done it in all the playoff games. We wanted to control their special teams and let Desmond do his thing. And today it happened at the right time. It pretty much knocked the wind right out of him.
What is the mentality on the special teams for a guy like you out on the outside?
Pretty much just to dominate. You know, the mentality of all our special teams is go out there and beat their special teams, and that's what our goals be every time we step on the field.
Tyrone Williams has now won a state football championship, a collegiate football championship at Nebraska, and now you've won a professional championship. There's not too many people who have been able to do that. What does that do for you? How does that make you feel, Tyrone?
Man, that's just one unbelievable accomplishment that I've done, and I'm just proud of it. And like I told other people, I think I'm gonna switch sports now, you know, play a little golf, a little try baseball, maybe, you know, like Jordan did, but to do that is unbelievable, and I don't think it'll be repeated.
What about the fact that it came to in your rookie year? Much has been made about the fact that Reggie and Sean waited so long. This came quickly for you.
You know, that's why when I was in the locker room, a lot of the guys was emotional, and I was just sitting around, not really knowing what to feel, because I've just been so used to winning these things. I wasn't really that emotional, because, you know, guys have bust their rump in the NFL for 10 years, and here I just step on the scene and win one, and you know, it's just a feat it's an unbelievable feat. I don't think it'll be accomplished again anytime soon.
Well, Tyrone, now you have something to shoot for every year in your career. One quick question before we let you run. Did you have this green and gold ensemble before you got drafted by the Packers?
No, I didn't. I actually went out and got it before we came over here, and just said I'm going to wear this on game day, and when I win it, I'm going to wear it and profile out of here.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. Enjoy your offseason. We'll be back with more in just a moment. In fact, we'll be talking live to defensive tackle Santana Dotson. Stick around.
Problem. No blitz this time. A pass intercepted by Mike Pryor. Pryor stays on his feet. Pryor gets the Packers back to the 26.
You are looking live at Water Street in Milwaukee. Remember the ticker tape parades and the excitement of the Brewers in 1982 and Marquette back in 1977. The city of Milwaukee is celebrating tonight the Green Bay Packers, champions of the NFL, winning the Super Bowl 35-21 over the New England Patriots. And one of the guys that this team acquired in the offseason to help push the middle and make the defense a team to really be reckoned with was Santana Dotson, and he joins us looking as snappy as ever after the Super Bowl victory. When you came to Green Bay, the talk was about this team being able to take that next step and win the Super Bowl. Did you legitimately believe it when you came to the team, and when did you know it could happen this year?
I definitely did. You know, when I got here in March, taking my first trip, that's all everybody was talking about, getting to this point and winning the game. And I felt that it came to a real realization when we got to training camp, and everybody, all the off-season acquisitions and all the players that had to come back, we worked so well together. You know, we were a real dominant team in the beginning of training camp, so that carried over to the regular season.
And on that defensive line, you guys are veterans. Young veterans, but veterans, and you seem to mesh almost out of training camp. How important was that?
Yeah, it was real important. Like, I think we've carried the weight a lot of times of the whole defense and the whole team on our shoulders. We're a defensive line that's very talented. We expect ourselves to make a lot of plays, and we put a lot of pressure on the guy next to us to make plays, because we feel when we play well and we dominate games the way we should, that there's really nobody that can really contend with us.
Young veterans in the middle, at least. You can call Sean and Reggie old guys.
Yeah. You guys seem to have a pretty good day getting pressure on Drew Bledsoe. You yourself had a nice sack late in the game. Talk a little bit about what you thought about getting pressure on him and how important that would be as far as winning this football game.
Well, going into the game, we thought it was real critical of ourselves to play well against the run. And earlier when the game started, they really hurt us with play-action pass. We were biting hard and trying to be physical in the run, and Drew Bledsoe had all day to throw the ball. When we got to the second half and went up by a score or so, and we could really pin our ears back when we knew that they were in must-pass situations. That's when Reggie got the back-to-back sacks. Next series in the fourth quarter, I believe I got the sack. So it just carried over. When they had to throw the ball down the field, us as far as defensive line, we knew we had to get Drew Bledsoe on the ground.
And what about the preparation for this game? The 2 weeks, a long week down here. What were your thoughts about how this team prepared and focused on this game?
We prepared well, but really the 2 weeks were a little annoying. Just sitting and waiting to play, one of the biggest game or the biggest game of most people in our locker room's career. It's an annoyance just sitting and waiting. The media, you guys are great, but the same questions day after day after day. It wears you out.
That wasn't for me. I don't think I asked.
No. We're the guys who are great, right?
Right.
Yeah. Let me ask you about before the game. I know in the past sometimes a player will step up and address the team, kind of help to get the guys going. Who spoke to the team today prior to the Super Bowl, and what did he say?
Well, it was Mike's day. Coach Mike got up and he talked to the team, basically about playing as one. You know, he challenged us to play as a unit on every phase of the game, the way we had done all year, to play fast and hard, and that we would prove that we were the best team on the field. And I think that carried over today. We just went out and did all those things.
Does he get the recognition that he is due as a coach in this league?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't think so. Everything was made this week about Parcells and the Parcells factor, and, you know, last I checked, he wasn't going to put any shoulder pads and helmet on and sashay across the 50-yard line. So I think Mike has done a great job of bringing a bunch of talented guys together and getting them to play as a whole unit.
Before we let you run, what about fans? In Tampa Bay, you had your core of fans, but it wasn't like this. I don't know if it's like this anywhere in the NFL. What do the Packer fans mean to this football team?
They are great. You know, they support us in up and down times, and they definitely deserve a piece of this trophy when we bring it home. They were real critical as far as getting us over the hump in playoff games and getting us to this point, you know. So my hat's off to all the fans, and thanks for all the support they've given me, myself, and my teammates all year.
Well, you've got one more celebration. I know you like that Tampa weather, and you got to go to Green Bay, but you can put up for one more day with that celebration that they've got planned up there.
Yeah, I'll put up with it for a couple of days, and I'm going to go south quick and thaw out.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us, and congratulations for being the world champions.
Thank you.
All right, Santana Dotson of the Packers. We are going to talk live to Ron Wolf right after this commercial break as we continue our special post-game. Oh, let's go right to Ron Wolf then. Hey, okay. How about that? Now, you know,
congratulations.
The business of TV and even the NFL is about money, and you just kicked the commercial right out of it. We're saying right to Ron Wolf. We're not even taking a commercial break. That's how big you are after winning the Super Bowl.
That's what happens when you win these things, you know. Finally, somebody moves for you.
When did you think this team could win it? I know that's been the goal since you came to Green Bay, but when did you think this current crop of Packers could win the Super Bowl?
Well, I think primarily when we saw how the linebacking thing worked out. It started to shape and work itself out in the preseason, and the emergence of George Kuntz and Brian Williams. We said, geez, we got something very special here. We just have to play it right. And fortunately, they stepped up and played. And then the addition of Dotson and Robinson, just everything fell in place.
I have to tell you, this guy's been talking about the linebacker play for years.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about this, Ron. The fact that what does this mean for you? Mike Holmgren has talked about how difficult it is to get one victory in this league, and the work and the amount of effort that goes into that. This team started back in July. You've put this thing together now for 5 years. Just tell me what you're feeling personally and the pride that you must be feeling as far as being able to put this team on the top of the pile.
Well, John, first of all, I'm very thankful for the people that work with us, the support we have from our executive committee, Bob Harlan. He's done everything for Mike and myself to enable us to get to this moment and actually cherish this moment or feel pride in this moment. And the credit really has to go to him and so many people that a lot of that never go recognized. And I feel very proud of their accomplishments and what we've done.
You've got a ring coming now, and it's the celebration tomorrow in Green Bay. I know the folks up in Green Bay are getting awfully excited to welcome you back as world champions.
Yeah, and we owe an awful lot to the people in Green Bay. As you know, you played there a number of years, and it's such a tremendous feeling for me to let them know how happy we are for them and the gratification I personally feel for the support they've given us. And we have the best fans in the United States. There's no question about that. Certainly in this game, and we play in the best place. So thank goodness everything fell into place for us this year.
One of your acquisitions this year, Desmond Howard, a pretty good pickup, Ron, back in the late summer, and what a sensational game he had today.
Exactly, and you know, it's amazing to me that a player of this caliber cannot make the Pro Bowl team, you know, considering when the professionals vote for this. You know, I'm just staggered by that. I don't understand that, but what a great postseason he had, and he's the most amazing player I've ever seen doing what does.
In the last two games, you've seen Pro Bowl returners, Dave Meggett And, of course, Michael Bates and Howard has definitely been able to dominate the game from his side of the ball. But I think it should be known, this wasn't fluky. We ran a comment this week from you, which we took back in training camp, and you said, what Desmond Howard can do for this team is run with the ball. That's the way we set up our offense. That's the way we're going to set up our defense, our return teams. When a guy gets his hands on the ball, he needs to be able to make plays. That's always kind of been your philosophy for guys like that, and he really delivered here with him.
He certainly did. You know, and he's the type of young man that thinks every time he touches the ball, he's going to score a touchdown. That's a rare quality, and he has rare ability. And he demonstrated again today that he broke their backs. You know, I'm just, I talked to Bill after the game, Bill Parcells, you know, I'm just surprised they kicked to him.
When does the pressure start to build again in terms of trying to hit on the next guys? Do you keep Howard? Do you keep Rison? Do you keep Gilbert Brown, Wayne Simmons right on down the line?
Well, what we're going to do is we'll meet this next week here and determine exactly how we're going to break down our squad. At the same time, we're also going to start our draft preparation. We have the combine coming up in 2 weeks, so we're right back into it. So,
no off season anymore for an executive in this league.
No, there's no off season. But I'll tell you what, the feeling I have right now, I'll take that.
But you will be a Green Bay Packer decision maker for many years to come, correct?
Yes, I'll be in Green Bay for as long as they want me.
Well, congratulations and thank you. Wonderful job. Thank you.
I think they'll want him a while. What do you think?
Don't see any reason to get rid of him. What the heck? He's done a heck of a job and sincerely has really put his stamp on this team. His first hire, Mike Holmgren, then he picks up Brett Favre. Just personnel decisions like a Desmond Howard. I mean, the pieces he put in place have panned out for the most part.
John, a perspective question, if I can, while we step back from these current guys for a moment. You played on this team through some of the lean times. You grew up in the state watching the glory days of the Packers. What does this mean for the franchise?
Well, it's an important win. As far as the franchise they are now, you know, that old phrase, the pack is back, we can use that again, and it really has some true significance to it. I think what today was really an exclamation point to this whole season. They had a wonderful season, as did the New England Patriots, and I don't know if we've tipped our hat to them too, but you work so hard to get to a game like this, and the fact that they lost should not overshadow the fact that they went through a lot of work, as did the Packers, to get to this game. Mike Holmgren touched on that, and he said, you know, you got to appreciate, you got to enjoy the journey, because only 2 teams out of 30 get to this point. But there is something to be said for being a champion as well, and the Packers are that champion, and they deserve all the recognition, all the credit for being that champion.
All right, they take down the New England Patriots today, 35-21. As we go to commercial break, Leroy Butler taking down Drew Bledsoe. Leroy Butler, very, very dominant coming up from the blitz position in Fritz Shermer's scheme today. Stick around, we'll be right back. You'll get another look at the trophy presentation after this break.
2 timeouts, right? Their time here to score this touchdown.
From the 2, first and goal. Here's Favre. Holding and Favre pushed. Didn't get in. Maybe he did.
One official said he did get in.
Yes, he thinks he did.
Remember where the ball is?
Sure, he was in the corner of the end zone. No question about it. Brett Favre on the scramble. He scrambled left for the touchdown. He scrambled right later in the game for a big first down. Brett Favre doesn't get to put his name on the MVP trophy today, but he certainly is a big part of why the Packers are Super Bowl champions. The host of the Talking Football with Brett Favre show all season long, Sports Director Tom Pippin's back in Milwaukee. Tom, this guy has been a joy to work with all season long. I know that, but he really came to the fore late in the year.
Well, Tim, it was just fabulous to see it for Brett, because everyone knows he has been through so much adversity off the field with his much publicized pain problems with Vicodin, overcoming that, overcoming the problems of his family back home, his brother in a serious automobile accident that killed Brett's best friend. His father-in-law was in a serious accident at work before the season. Somehow, some way, Brett was able to focus in on what he is gifted to do best, and that, of course, is to play football, the NFL MVP, and it's just part of the great story. Now, the trophy presentation, Vince Lombardi, everybody's saying the trophy comes to Green Bay, the Lombardi Super Bowl trophy, where it belongs. Here now we go again to that marvelous presentation from the Louisiana Superdome.
Mike, here's the Lombardi trophy. Okay, thank you. Bob Harlan, it's been 29 years since Green Bay has brought home a world title. What do you have to say to Green Bay, the new America's team, and all of its fans around the world?
I think it's time, Terry, that the Lombardi Trophy goes home to Lambeau Field, where it belongs.
Ron Wolf, general manager of the Green Bay Packers. This is a tough question. What did you see in Desmond Howard that made you decide to give him a second chance and that this guy could be this instrumental in a victory, the Super Bowl 31 victory for the Green Bay Packers?
Well, Terry, the real credit goes to the gentleman to my left. He kept after me to sign him. We were going to make him our first year, our first pick, and Washington moved in front of us. But we kept after it, and look what happened today. I'd like to say this to the Green Bay Packers, every member of the Green Bay Packers, well done, well done. To the fans of Green Bay, this is yours as much as it is ours, and we thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Let me move over here. Mike, slide. We have seen a lot of eras in the National Football League, notably the Vince Lombardi era, and now along comes you, Mike Holmgren. Is this the new era? Is this the Mike Holmgren era? And what does it feel like to be a coach of the world champion Green Bay Packers?
Well, Terry, first of all, I'm really humbled by the experience. This is the greatest group of players I've ever been around, the most unselfish group of players I've ever been around. And my coaches just did an awesome job all season long, keeping them focused, and they are to receive a lot of the credit. I mean, we were all in this thing together. Coach Lombardi had a wonderful legacy for the rest of us, and now we're just trying to do our part, and I hope we can do it for a long time to come.
What a fantastic moment that was. And I think, Tim, what makes this so special is you have a unique situation. It's more than just Desmond Howard and the kickoff return for a touchdown and the punt yardage return record in the Super Bowl. It's more than Brett Favre's 2 TD passes and also his running for a score. It's all about a relationship between a team that doesn't have an owner anymore. It's owned by the community, and a love affair that the players have with the fans. Not only Green Bay, but Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin and throughout the United States. And that's what makes it so special. And I think that's why it's a story that will continue to go on for some time. Tim, while we have a moment, is John there with you?
No, he is not right now.
Okay, I'd hope to ask him a question just to get his perspective as a young man growing up in Waukesha and eventually becoming a Packer, and what must have been going through his mind those final seconds. Maybe we'll have another opportunity later. We'll bring it back out to you in the Superdome.
Okay, Tom, thanks very much. 72,000 fans here to see this, 72,301 as a matter of fact. And you're exactly right about the Packers story, kind of the warm, fuzzy national story this year with the first time around for Green Bay in 29 years. No question about it, very, very memorable as Green Bay beats New England. The Patriots did show up today, no question about it, in holding that lead, if you remember, in the second quarter. But I think it turned bad for them very early when the bubble was deflating around them when they were trying to come out for their starting lineups. We'll have more on this special post-game edition of Talking Packers live from New Orleans while we show you what's going on live in Milwaukee. Boy, it's not too quiet up in Milwaukee this evening. Major surprise there. We'll have the X-Files for you at about 10:30 tonight. We'll be getting to Fox's popular program. We'll have a newscast after that, and that will feature live reports from Green Bay, Milwaukee, and points unknown. Stick around.
The first punt return? It was a lot of mouthing going on. I think that since all these cameras and some of them are live are going on, we can't really repeat verbatim what was said, but there was some expletives in there. Excuse me? I'd rather not, because I really couldn't do that because the words are so harsh and so crass. Obviously, I never quit on myself, but I wouldn't be here today. The lowest point was during training camp in Green Bay, knowing that I had the talent that I possessed, but not being able to show it because I had a hip pointer. You know, it was a legitimate injury that happened during camp. There's nothing I can do about that. But it was very frustrating because I knew that there were certain things I can do out there on the field, but just wasn't getting the opportunity to show them. And realizing that, you know, preseason only been so long, and they had a lot of receivers that obviously they had to make cuts. And but you know, I could have easily swallowed that pill had I been released because I didn't have a chance to show my talent.
The most valuable player of the Super Bowl, Desmond Howard. Interesting script for him, of course. The high draft choice for the Washington Redskins. Didn't really do it there in a couple of years, 3 years as a matter of fact. Went to Jacksonville, really didn't do a lot down there. And when he came to Green Bay, there were some doubts on about his toughness, about whether he'd be able to contribute to the offense. But you heard Ron Wolf earlier on our show talking about the fact that Desmond Howard can run with the football when he gets it in his hands. What he's doing right now is running the gamut of live interview shows across the country. Right on down the line, there's a phalanx around him. And this guy is enjoying probably the time of his life since he won the Heisman Trophy at the University of Michigan. Lots of activity still taking place here on the Superdome floor. Interesting game, Tom Pipines, back in Milwaukee. Funny, a hard one to stay up with, actually. Early in the game, Craig Hentrick had 3 kickoffs in the first 6 minutes and 18 seconds of this game. I personally anticipated a lower scoring, more of a defensive game than we saw today. This thing really got wild right out of the blocks.
Well, one of the fears you had, Tim, is that if it was going to be a high-scoring game, it might tend to favor the Patriots, even though the Packers have such an offensive arsenal, because the Patriots coming into the Super Bowl were 4-0 anytime they'd scored 40 or more points this past season. Had to be very concerned that the Packers were just unable to get at Drew Bledsoe. He had all kinds of time, and they were going for play fakes early. But after a while, when they stopped the run, they just forgot about the play fakes, and defensive coordinator Fritz Sherman did what he has done so well for so many years in the National Football League. He made an adjustment, and that defensive coordinator had people such as Leroy Butler blitzing and Doug Evans blitzing. We talked about it in the pregame show this morning, which seemed, well, it's almost 12 hours now. If you get to Drew Bledsoe, young guy, big kid, but you can rattle him, and that's what they started to do. He threw all the interceptions. The Packers came up with the turnovers. They had a long drive when they needed it, talking about Green Bay now. Brett Favre played a flawless game. There was talk about his emotions. Would he have 2 or 3 picks? Would he throw the ball into the seats? But Brett Favre was able to just focus right in and play the kind of game that has made him, Tim, the finest quarterback in the National Football League. So overall, it was an effort. How about Reggie White with a Super Bowl record 3 sacks for a man who just said, I came to Green Bay, I just knew. He said, God told me we were going to get a Super Bowl. Well, he got that and then some. He was really special today. And it was a moment to remember for the Packers. 92 was just awesome.
Throw it to Coach. You see what Reggie can do?
There he is with that bull rush. This is a time when Reggie White at age 35, is he starting to slow down? He's not the player he was, but he was so high and above everybody else before that it's just unbelievable. So he really, Tim, was something to behold, the leader of that defense for a number of years since he came over from Philadelphia in free agency. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, no question about it, Tom. And it is funny that we're talking about Santana Dotsman and Desmond Howard and Brett Favre and so many other people up and down the line on the Packer roster. But it was Reggie White's decision to come to Green Bay and sign as a free agent in 1993 that basically convinced other people around the NFL that the Packers might be a serious contender. And obviously that decision has certainly borne fruit over the last couple of years. We're going to come back with more sound and interviews for you from the Superdome, where the Packers have been crowned Super Bowl champions 35-21. That's what's happening in New Orleans. Take a look at what's happening in Milwaukee. We'll have more of this for you on our special late night edition of Fox 6 News, which will follow the X-Files. So don't go anywhere all night long. Well, you will probably see these pictures for years to come. You probably see them a lot in the next couple of weeks, and you probably won't really mind, will you? The Super Bowl champions celebrating on the field at the Superdome. The city of New Orleans playing host to its 8th Super Bowl, which is a record. And this one may top them all, certainly as far as Midwestern fans are concerned. Jim McMahon not getting into the game. Of course, he played here with those famed Bears back in the mid-'80s. And it is important to remember that as good as that team was, with Coach Mike Ditka, who may be coming down here to New Orleans to take over the Saints, they only got to the Super Bowl once. As good as they were, they only got to the Super Bowl once, winning that over those same New England Patriots. So this is a moment to cherish, no question about it, for the Green Bay Packers. The New Orleans folks handing out a little clipboard here, some of the interesting things that have taken place in the Super Bowl in New Orleans in the past. There were co-MVPs here, the only time that's happened in Super Bowl history. The first indoor game in Super Bowl history here in 1978. And the Super Bowl logo imprinted on the game balls, first place to do that. The Fridge also scored a touchdown here. And the first time a player was selected MVP for 3 times, Joe Montana, quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, picking that up here in Super Bowl 24, which was, of course, the last Super Bowl played here prior to this one. And Coach Mike Holmgren was with the 49ers, of course, at that time. He won his 2nd Super Bowl ring at that time, and has come to Green Bay and, of course, been able to put another one on the fingers of his players and on his coaching staff. There are going to be changes coming up in the next couple of months, no question about it. Players who will be seeing their contracts expire and going to other teams. The Packers will not be able to keep everybody. Also, possibly assistant coaches. Marty Mornhinweg, as an example, the quarterback's coach, being mentioned as the offensive coordinator candidate to join Steve Mariucci with the San Francisco 49ers. The winds of change will be blowing upon this team in the next couple of weeks and months, but for now, they have the opportunity to celebrate a Super Bowl championship. Coming up right after this program, we have the X-Files from Fox, a special edition, much anticipated, the edition of the show that followed the Super Bowl. Then local news right here on Fox 6. We'll have live reports from New Orleans, Green Bay, Milwaukee, elsewhere. We'll have specials all week long. Our Super Bowl scrapbook continues tomorrow night at 6:30. Again, I mentioned it coming out of the last commercial break, but no one's going to get tired of that Packer video anytime soon. We have you all set all week as a special tribute to this Green Bay Packer football team. It has been a pleasure bringing you all the action today. We started early and we took you right through the final gun and this postgame show. Thanks for joining us. For Sports Director Tom Pippins back in Milwaukee and our entire crew down here in New Orleans, thanks very much for being with us. We hope you enjoyed the game and the reaction. Have a good night.
The Lombardi Trophy goes home to Lambeau Field where it belongs.